here at Nutricia, the makers of the KetoCal formulas. One thing that our team does is to help answer questions from families and caregivers about our products. And we get a lot of questions about mixing KetoCal, such as the temperature of the water and measuring the powder. So today we want to demonstrate how to mix the KetoCal 4:1 powder.
So mixing KetoCal can be a little trickier than standard formulas because of the high fat content. You have to use water that is perfectly warm so that everything dissolves. So if you don't use water that's warm enough, it can not mix fully or be a little clumpy, but you'll find that once you get the temperature of the water just right, everything mixes very smoothly.
So first we're going to show you how to measure out the powder. So the gram scale, or a scale that measures in grams, is really important with the ketogenic diet. And your healthcare team will probably encourage you to have one on hand. We also have our powder and the device we want to measure into. So we'll start by putting the empty container on the gram scale. And if your gram scale is already turned on, make sure that you zero it. So that makes sure that you subtract the weight of the device that you're measuring into. Then we would add the powder. As I mentioned, we're going to do 35 grams today, mixing with 200 milliliters of water. Now, it's really important that you follow the recipe that your ketogenic healthcare team gives to you. This is just an example today. So we have in this bottle already measured out 35 grams of the powder, and next we'll measure out the water.
Yes, so like Rob said, you're going to use the exact amounts of powder and water that your dietitian or your healthcare provider told you to use, but we're just going to demonstrate how to prepare it for best results.
And this is the same for the KetoCal 3:1 powder as it is for the 4:1 powder.
So as we mentioned, the trickiest part about mixing KetoCal is just making sure that you have the right temperature water. So in order for it to mix for best results, you want to use water that's between 113 and 122 degrees Fahrenheit. So you can measure the temperature using a kitchen thermometer or a candy thermometer, anything that goes within that range that you're looking for, the 113 to 122. And you can heat the water however you'd like. You can boil it, you can microwave it, you can use a kettle like we're going to use. And an important thing to note is that after you boil it, you'll probably want it to cool down for about 20 to 30 minutes to get that range, because it'll be way hotter than 122 degrees Fahrenheit after you boil it. So you won't have to measure it so closely each time as you get more comfortable preparing it. But when you're first starting to mix it, it really helps you to use the thermometer to make sure that you're getting the water into that range.
So if you don't want to wait for boiled water to come down in temperature close to the range that we're looking for, another method that we've heard of is actually to mix about equal parts of cool water with freshly boiled water. So what we have here in a mixing container is some cool water, and we're going to add to that water that was recently boiled. So as we mentioned, it's going to be in about a 50-50 blend. And we also have the candy thermometer that we mentioned. So that's a nice way for us to keep an eye on the temperature as it cools down. And if you need to add a little bit more cool or warm water to bring it into the temperature range, you can do that as well. And that's perfect. We're at about 120 degrees. So I'm going to take the thermometer out. And we're going to go ahead and add this to the powder. So we already measured out 35 grams of powder, and I'm going to add to that 200 milliliters of water. Again, make sure that you use the numbers that are provided by your healthcare team. Now, a lot of parents call us to ask us if it's really important that they stay below 122 degrees Fahrenheit. And that is important because you don't want the water to be so warm that it affects the levels of nutrients in the powder. Perfect. All right. So we're going to add this 200 milliliters of water to the 35 grams of powder that we already had measured out. And then we're going to cap it and shake it really well for about 15 to 20 seconds so that the powder has time to dissolve.
So some parents will make each serving as they go. Other parents will prefer to make a batch for the whole day and then keep it in the refrigerator. And each one is perfectly fine. It's safe to keep the formula in the refrigerator for up to 24 hours after you make it. At room temperature, it's good for 4 hours. And then if your child drinks by mouth, it really should be used within 1 hour after they start to drink from it.
So thanks for joining us today for this demonstration of how to mix the KetoCal powders. Hope we've answered your questions, but if you do have any more, you can reach us by phone at 800-365-7354, or you can find more tips and recipes on our website, myketocal.com, or our blog, ketoconnect.com. Thanks.
Thank you.